So I want to talk about love today, about human love, horizontal love, and divine love, and and the self. It's a self that it's a multifaceted self, but the self that desperately desires love, um, which is in everybody. But we go through this really messed up way of trying to get that love. And the messed up way is when we're looking for it here on the earthly realm, in the matter realm. So anyone who studies the teachings of the Ascended Masters will understand this, but I'm just going to say it nonetheless, that we cannot ever be fulfilled by any of the love that comes from earth. Like, there's no doubt, there's some lovely feelings of love here, and we do experience love with one another. But the only true, the fulfillment that we're looking for, that we're truly desiring, it only comes from above, this divine flow, like the love that just flows. It flows, all the way originating from God and down through, all of these different ascended masters, the presence of love, and it filters down, through us, and that's what feeds us. That's what gives us life. That is what gives us a meaning in life, and it gives us everything we need to keep going and to exist. So prior to understanding this, I was pretty much just looking for life outside love outside myself. And so the difference between looking outside myself and then, going through this process of gradually surrendering more and more to, the divine love that flows from above, I'm discovering that, that's where, it's not like a theory. It's just like, yeah, that's the only love that fulfills me, and so just lately I've discovered there's just some remnants in my being where these momentums where, there is sort of like this opening up for looking for love from below. And so I've just sort of been reflecting. I've been reading a dictation from Cyclopea, and I'll attach the link below if you're interested. And I've been pondering about this, and I can see sort of pretty much the moment that I was descending into embodiment in this life, the key selves that I was facing. Well, I was really looking at like this incredible emotional momentum of fear. I don't have too many memories of my childhood, like, I don't really have too many crystal clear memories of things that happened, but I do have memories of impressions and awareness and so on. Like, I just have those sort of memories. So I was adopted, and I've since discovered that it was a forced adoption. So while I was in the womb and forming in there with, different coming in and out with consciousness, but, as we know, babies are affected while they're in the womb. And so, if they're affected in positive ways, when, parents sort of come in and they, they're very aware of the loving energy and knowledge that they're giving to their babies, like they're doing it energetically, so they're aware of that. And this happens with negative imprinting too. And so I was well aware of my mother's suffering, because she was being forced into a situation and made to feel, immense shame. and she knew she was going to have to surrender me. She knew that it was just a done deal and she couldn't change that, although, you know, she couldn't accept it. And I knew that too. And then, you know, the moment I was born, you know, just taken immediately away from that flow, that connection, you know, that only earthly connection of love, just taken away and separated and kept alone. I'm sure I received love during the time when I was, you know, kept in the hospital, probably from nurses, I'd imagine. But, you know, I'm talking like a month to 6 weeks of just being separated. Like, you know, that's pretty intense for a newborn baby. So anyway, the bigger impression I had from this was like I came through with fear, like, you know, this intense fear of like, oh no, you know, what's going to happen this time on earth, you know, like I think anyone who sort of tunes into, you know, what that experience is like, you know, we come through into embodiment, you know, wondering, you know, what's this lifetime going to be like, you know, is there going to be love around me, or is it going to be the usual of, you know, torment and fear and you know, yeah, war, whatever it might be, like, you know, horrible experiences. So that was very much, you know, an energy that I came through with. But I landed in a very loving family, you know, who, you know, as close to divine love as you can get on this earth, but, you know, still quite imperfect. So I came to recognize that I was safe, you know, and there's no need to go into this fear any longer. So I eventually, and this is, you know, as a very young child, I was able to sort of just let go of that outer fear. And I think what happened was there was sort of, it came from, you know, partly from a higher place, like, you know, it was a certain level of letting go of fear. It wasn't the total letting go of fear, of course. But at some level there was sort of like, it created like this codependence. So, you know, I'd learnt to depend on the world being a place where my sense of well-being and identity was based on it being a safe place. Like, it had to be really a safe place for me to feel that. So you can see I'm sort of dependent on the outside world. I was not opening up to, you know, the flow from above. I wasn't ready to open up to the flow from above fully, and surrender to that and know that that's where, you know, my sense of peace and safety and love comes from. So I'm, you know, I've sort of looked through this for many, many years, this whole idea of codependence, because, you know, I noticed many years ago when it became, you know, a big thing, the whole concept of narcissists, and, you know, and I just sort of began opening up to realizing like, wow, I've been attracted to so many narcissists on, you know, in romantic and friendship relationship levels, all different relationships. So I recognized that, and then, you know, it began to crop up and be explained that, well, a narcissist needs a codependent, and you know, that was kind of like a tough pill to swallow. But it's, you know, they go together like cookies and cream, the narcissist and the codependent. And so when you begin to look at it, you know, well, what is this codependence? And it's when you're dependent on the conditions in this world to define how you feel in response to it. Do I feel safe? If my world around me is safe, then I feel safe. I'm dependent on the world. I'm not dependent above. Like, I'm not opening up to that flow above. So I'm just sort of at this point of seeing it, that, you know, what is that difference? You know, why can love on earth never fulfill us? It's because it only comes from above, where there are no conditions for the love that comes from above. It just comes Love just flows. It constantly flows. And it's a direction. It comes from above and it flows through us. And as we raise our awareness, we naturally open up that flow of love so that it just flows through us without conditions also. That's the whole idea of letting go of separate selves, is to open up our hearts so that there are no conditions in our hearts, so that love can flow from above. And while we stay dependent on the flow of love below, which, it's a maybe, and it's lovely when we experience it, but it does not sustain us. The only sustaining flow is the flow of love from above. And so that unconditional love that comes from above, our only role is to allow that unconditional love to just keep on flowing unconditionally through us, so that, when I give the gift of love, or when I just share and I let that flow happen, I have no expectations, no attachment for whether it is received or rejected or what is done with that love. I just let it flow, and that's all you need to do too, if you want, or not. It's your choice. So that's it today. I didn't quite know what I was going to say or how I was going to say it, but I wanted to talk about love, and partly for my own healing, but also to share with you what I'm coming to understand about love, and to release, the remnants of blockages of where I have been dependent and codependent on love from below, and which inevitably will have conditions. So that's it. There we go. All right.